Hello lovelies, how are you all doing today? I hope you're well. I'm excited. I've got my harvesting basket because today is the first day I'm picking tomatoes. It is Saturday the 16th of August, 15th or 16th, but it's the Saturday. Quick note, we've got a really stiff onshore breeze today. It's really breezy, so I hope sound will be okay. But also because of that, the sounds from the bay are being pushed up here. You might not be able to make it out, but I can hear a banjo being played. I just heard the Punch and Judy guy announce the next Punch and Judy show will start in 10 minutes. Might have a bit of Punch and Judy while we're at it. Anyway, so I'm going to do some picking. To say, it's tomatoes, I've got ripe ones. But I'm also going to I'll show you a couple of other things in the garden, because that recent video of when I was doing my summer jobs was 13 days ago. So I want to show you a couple of things since then, very quickly though. Plus, then we're going to go back inside. I'm going to weigh my produce, also talk a little bit about preserving. Particularly I wanted to mention preserving for Karen, Miss S. More of that when we get indoors. Anyway, without further ado, let's get picking some lovely produce. Okay, I want to show you these before I start harvesting. I actually have harvested the back wall, but this is what I wanted to remember to show you. I wonder how much it will pick up. Let's just take this off completely. So if you remember, stumps of stalks, nothing to them, literally 13 days ago, and now look at them. Loads and loads of growth there. Absolutely wonderful. They want to grow. So I would say that within about another week to 2 weeks I'll be harvesting. And likewise the cavallo. I'm not going to take them all off, but that's the cavallo in there coming back. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 leaves there. That's the dazzling blue kale. Fantastic. Actually, let me put the cover back on right now before I show you the other there's a little quirky thing I want to show you. Good, I put it on a little bit more loosely now, so it's got room to grow. But this is a little funny thing I wanted to show you. I noticed when I was watering one evening, and I can't get it out, my shadow might help. You see that squash? It's stuck in the wall. I can't get it out. So I noticed it a couple of weeks ago actually, when it was much smaller, and you can see it's come from this plant. It's gone and it's just come to rest there, and it started to grow, and I can't get it out. So I'm not going to wiggle it too hard because it will snap off. Also, I've got a feeling when it does come out it might scratch the skin, and I'll have to use it straight away, and it's nowhere near ripe yet. You can see it's still green with stripes, but I've got a squash sort of growing out of, or at least stuck in my wall. I've had the first few tomatoes off here, and now we're going to go and get this lot. But what a happy sight that is. Isn't that just glorious, and what we all wait for? Oh, someone was asking me about stepping back to give a longer view of the garden, or I need to move furniture out of the way. My chair's in the way. So if I come right back into this corner behind the table, it gives you an idea of size. So I've got a bit of floor space there, bit of space there for my washing line, all my veggies, a couple of courgettes up the corner there, and then up into the shade garden, which hasn't been touched yet. Right, anyway, this ain't going to get the baby washed, is it? Let's get picking. Oh, these gorgeous, beautiful fruits. Well worth the wait. If you've never grown your own tomatoes before, you won't have therefore picked your own tomatoes before. So we can see this truss is not completely ripe, so I only want to pick my ripe fruits. So rather than cutting off the whole truss, I'm just going to harvest, harvest, harvest. Now, what I just did then, there's where each little fruit is forming. Let me see if I can bring you in really close. Whoop. Yeah, which one is that? That's that one, isn't it? There's where the stalk comes out of the truss, it then sort of almost at 90 degrees bends down into the stalk that's in the top of the tomato. So very simply, getting hold of the tomato, put your thumb onto that sort of 90-degree angle, put your thumb on there, and then with your fingers pull the tomato towards you, and it just comes off easily and gently. So thumb on that little nodule at 90 degrees, with your fingers pull towards you, and it's off. Easy peasy lemon squeeze, and you'll get through your harvest picking in no time. Spider's web. Smell, the smell. Heavenly. Now they can stay a little while longer. Warm, sunny tomatoes. Is there anything more gorgeous? No, they can stay a little longer. Good, right, beans next. Oh, a bit more than demi-sec. Right, when I'm harvesting the beans, I'm wanting to harvest them demi-sec. I'll explain that further indoors when we're out of the wind. That is my seed-saving plant, so I'm not harvesting those at all. Oh gosh, yes, these really need harvesting. I might actually nick a couple from the seed saver because they're not dry yet, and leave others elsewhere to dry. Oh yeah, I've missed a couple. They've gone really quickly. Oh, it's gorgeous out there. It's quite hot, but that breeze, it's really blowing. It's lovely. I'm going to go sit out there later and do a bit more podding. Right, okay, just quickly before we get to the harvest, I also have in here, don't want to tip it too far forward, this is seed from my Love in a Mist that I inherited from here. So I took the old plants out. They will have scattered seed anyway, but I also tipped them upside down, paper bag, shake, shake, shake to catch some seed, because when I clear the bed in the autumn of the tomato plants, I want to put these in on the back of that bed towards the wall again. So specifically have them there, and then as I continue to sort of weed through the winter and then into early spring, I'll know that that little bit in the back, oh yeah, that's my Nigella, my Love in a Mist. They're pretty off ceilings anyway. Right, so tomatoes first of all. Nice little pick, first pick. I have decided that this year I'm going to weigh my tomatoes as I harvest them. Actually, let me put them here for a second. I'm going to start piling them up on the scales. In the past, I know there's quite a lot of new people to my channel, and so someone gave me some very basic gardening advice the other day, and I thought, okay, this is someone who's never seen my allotment videos. Not to say that, you know, we all learn new things all the time. Anyway, because of that, there's quite a few people who won't know that there were 2 occasions in the last 15 years or so when, at separate years, and I can't remember which years they were, it's all written in a book, but the book is still packed, when I weighed and measured every single thing that came out of the garden. Some things, tomatoes, weigh them, beans, weigh them, obviously things like onions and squash just count the individual number. And then I totted up what it would have cost me if I had bought them at the supermarkets and not even buying organic. So all my food is organic. I start with organic seed. I garden organically. So yeah, anyway, on both occasions, it turned out that my produce, if I had bought it in the shop, not organically, it would have cost me £2,000. £2,000 over the course of a year, or put it more simply, £40 a week, 40, crazy. So I haven't done any weighing for ages. I can't remember, it was about 4 or 5 years ago since I last weighed anything. Where am I going to put you now you've been weighed? Just going to tip them out onto a chair here. So I thought I'd do it in this garden because obviously this garden is tiny. I mean, it's compared with my allotment, it's minuscule. Someone asked me also in terms of growing space how this compares, and I would say it's only 1/10 of my growing space at the allotment. So I thought, yeah, well, let's at least, I can measure the tomatoes, because I think the tomatoes alone will make any effort in terms of my time and energy worthwhile. I mean, it's worthwhile anyway because I love doing it, but also in terms of having spent on compost, does it make it worthwhile? And that one is bang on 800. Now I'm going to do eventually I'm going to do the whole thing in, I'm measuring in kilos because, you know, we're metric in the UK, most of the world is metric. But I am going to also, at the end, I'm going to do it in pounds, as in the weight pounds rather than the money pounds. And I'm going to work out the equivalent in pounds. And I've also worked out the equivalent in US dollars. I'm not going to do it for all nations and all monies. The reason I've chosen to do the American one is because outside of British viewers, the majority of my viewers are American. So at the moment in the UK, our tomatoes are costing for organic, they're costing between organic and or, you know, the like finest range that supermarkets do, sort of the specialty tomatoes, the ones which are the decent good tomatoes, they taste like tomatoes rather than water. They're ranging in price from £5 to £10 per kilo. So I'm going to plump right in the middle and say that if I was to buy all this in the shops, it's going to cost me £7.50 per kilo. That's as of August. Obviously it's the summer, this is when tomatoes ought to be at their cheapest in the Northern Hemisphere. So very quickly for our American friends, 1 kilo, I do everything in kilos, is the equivalent of about £2. It's actually £2.2. So when I'm talking kilos, think to yourself £2, so double up. And if I was doing that £7.50, that's a kilo. If I was doing it for pounds, it would work out at £3.39 a pound. Or to put it into dollar money, that's the equivalent, I'm growing the equivalent of $4.60. That's what this would cost me in the shop. To buy a pound of organic tomatoes would cost me $4.60. So now we've got a good kind of base to work from. Right, I'm going to just pop the tomatoes aside for a second. Oh yeah, and I mentioned earlier about Karen. The lovely Karen S was asking me, but the reason I wanted to mention it today is because it was literally just yesterday she messaged, Karen, this has happened, it happened before a couple of months ago, it's happened again, and I don't know why. It might be one of your settings. I've looked at my settings and I don't think it is. When you message me privately via Facebook, there's a message section on my Facebook page. Lots of folk message me there, asking me stuff, just saying hi, whatever. Karen messaged and was asking about what do I do with my tomatoes to preserve them. I can't answer you, Karen. It says at the bottom of the screen, it says you cannot respond, you cannot answer. I don't know what's happened. I don't know whether you've accidentally blocked me, but I can't respond to your questions. So you get the automated message that says, thank you for your message. It's always lovely to hear from people, blah, blah, blah. Automated message. I can't reply, sorry. Right, so with the tomatoes in terms of preserving, yes, I used to bottle a lot. I used to do water bath canning. However, it takes hours, it's a lot of faff. I just don't have that kind of time. But also the, you know, kilner jars and new sealers, the price of those things was just going up and up and up. And I'd run out of kilner jars. I think I'd run out of time at one point as well, and I thought, I'm just going to put them in the freezer. And actually, it's so easy using the freezer. One of the reasons you would be tempted to bottle over freezing is just because if you're in an area that's prone to power cuts, power outages, then obviously your bottled stuff is going to stay even during, you know, a week-long power cut. Power cuts of that type are rare in the UK. I know in some sort of high ground places, you know, in winter, there can be power cuts that last 4 or 5 days, but it's quite rare. So I'm happy to freeze and it's quick and easy. So all I will do with them, and I've made it even quicker and easier over the years. I used to, before freezing, I used to skin them. Yeah, and I know you can freeze them whole. A lot of people will freeze them whole, and then when you defrost them, they slip out their skins. Great, but freezing them whole takes up way too much space in the freezer. So what I used to do was skin them by a 1-minute plunge into boiling water and then straight into the ice bath and then get them peeled that way. But again, it's faff. I haven't got time for all that faff. So now literally all I do, they'll all get a bit of a wash. You can see they look dusty. That's from, it's a hard water area. And when I'm watering, they do get a bit splashed. So give them a quick wash. De-stalk, or just take that bit of the stalk out and then give them a quick rough chop, chuck them in the blender, whiz it all together. So that's the stalky middle bit, seeds, skins, the lot goes in, whiz it in the blender, and then I portion them into my, I don't have one to hand, but my little freezer tubs. You've seen them before, they're like takeaway tubs. They're sort of, they're low and flat and skinny. They hold up to 500 mils, which is about the equivalent, 450 mils is the equivalent of a tin can. So freeze them in that, they stack up. I can get loads in my freezer that way. And each one of those tubs represents a can of tomatoes. So if I'm doing a recipe and I think, oh, I'm going to add a tin of tomatoes, out the freezer, they defrost quite quickly too. Honestly, it's the quickest, simplest way. Quick wipe, that's what I'll be doing this afternoon. Quick wash, rough chop, into the blender, whiz them up, into a tray, tub, into the freezer, done in seconds. So today's little haul, and it's only the beginning, is just over 1.5 kilos. So I'm already, that's 375, 10. I reckon if I bought this lot, that would be £12, 12 quid. I've got some out the front to harvest as well. Right, so that's enough of tomatoes. Let's just talk briefly about the beans, because I mentioned about harvesting demi-sec. That one I've missed. Can you hear? That's dry. Coco de Pampol. P-A-I-M-P-O-L, named after the region in which they're grown, Pampol in Brittany in northern France. They are grown specifically for the bean inside. You don't eat the pod. Let's pop it open. Oh, they're beautiful, hold on. Beautiful, big, plump, creamy beans. They are a gorgeous bean. So, you heard me mention in the garden, I want to harvest them demi-sec. So demi-sec literally means half dry. Demi, half, sec, dry. If you're a wine connoisseur, you'll know your sec, dry. So this I've picked a little bit early, but I'm quite shocked. I'm really shocked actually that some of them are already dry. So you see that one's quite green still. It's kind of starting to turn creamy colour, and that one is definitely, the lighting on here isn't great, so the creamy colour. Demi-sec, all it means is that the pod is on its way very soon, too late, to becoming dry. And we want to catch it at just that moment when the beans are at their fattest in the pod, but they still have moisture in them. I'll open one of these that's dried. You can hear the difference in the pod, but also the size. Whoopla! Sorry, oh, they're so shiny. Okay, so this one is the one I just podded. That's demi-sec, plump, and still has moisture. This one, you see the difference? This is the one that's already dried. And if I drop the moist one into the bowl, it's got that kind of slightly rubbery tang. I drop this one in, you can hear, can't you? You can hear it. That's dry. Take it out, because if I eat that, I'll crack my teeth. So that's all this demi-sec business is about, is waiting for the beans in the pod to get as plump as possible in there. We want the beans at their biggest, at their plumpest, but still moist. Get them podded right now and either eat them right now. So in France, this is how they're sold. You'll see them in the market sold in their pods still. They're about, I've seen them anywhere between 15 and 20 pounds a kilo, and that's in their pods. You take the pod weight off, you're not getting a kilo of beans. Anyway, either pod them, they're all going to be podded today, and either eat a portion today, or as I will do, and again it's so easy, it's a no-brainer, these will go straight into one of my takeaway tubs in the freezer. I won't even blanch them, because these will be eaten, they'll be eaten in the next couple of months. I don't have a big garden anymore, you know, it's not an allotment, I'm not growing for the whole year. So in terms of blanching, I won't bother, because I'll be eating them quickly. It is recommended you blanch things if they're going to be stored in the freezer for more than 6 months. To be honest, I stopped blanching stuff years ago, and I'm sure some stuff was in my freezer for longer than 6 months. Is it by luck, accident, whatever? But I was okay. So yeah, I'll get this little lot podded, and then they'll just go straight into the freezer. Well, I might have a few in my supper tonight, but otherwise, yeah, they'll go straight in the freezer. And then at some point, and again in those tubs, it's equivalent of a tin of beans, so I'll make myself a lovely like beanie stew with them. I just salivated. Right, all right my lovelies, it was supposed to be a quickie today. I don't know how quick that was, but I just wanted to sort of reiterate about that kind of preserving of the tomatoes. Just chuck the whole lot in, blitz them, freeze them. With the beans, the important bit is getting them demi-sec. And like I said, I have missed a couple, but that's okay. They'll be seed for next year. All right, lovelies, I've got work to do in the kitchen. It'll only take a few minutes. It will literally, I reckon I'll be in the kitchen now for half an hour to an hour getting this lot preserved and put away for the winter. And, well, not all of the tomatoes. Oh, that smell. That smell when they're warm from the garden, can't beat it. A few of them will be kept out because, I'm going to be having koyatiki for my dinner tonight. I can't wait, it's the best part of the year. Stop it, Vivi, stop it. Right, I will see you all again really soon. Not sure for what, but I will see you then. Not sure when, but whenever it is, we'll do something else. Until then, look after yourselves. Happy harvesting of your gardens. I'll see you soon. Cheerio.